Hi, this is John Barnes, and you're listening to Kop On.
Wowzers. Whoa. We're live on YouTube. This is Kop On podcast on a day in which Liverpool lost a match, but it's a pre-season match. And I'm delighted to be joined by Shane and Nigel. And Shane, it's not nice to lose a match, even if it is pre-season. I can't allow myself to be particularly annoyed by it because it's only pre-season and it was a very experimental team. But still, it's a bit of a, it's not a kick in the nuts, but it's a sort of shove to the shoulder, isn't it?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a little bit of a startling, like slight wake up call, just because we came in. It took us down a peg a little bit because we as fans came in so arrogant. I was in my own head being like, wow, I wonder if we can be another invincible season. It's just, we have so many great signings. If in terms of the transfer window, I mean, not only Premier League champions, but going into the transfer window, we've won the transfer window for the entire summer. Everything has just been awesome and great. And then you come up against a quality European side that is out there to win and to do it in their own way, in their own fashion. And I think it did mean a bit more to AC Milan than it meant to us. But I would just describe it as pain, like slightly growing pains for preseason, that ultimately it's an opportunity for Slot. Excuse me. It's an opportunity for Slot to work things out, much like the Nottingham Forest match. Whenever we were like, okay, we got punched in the nose a little bit there. Let's go back to the drawing board and figure it out.
Have you had a chance, Nigel, to look at Arne Slot's post-match comments? Because if not, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'll explain them. The reassuring thing for me was that, or pretty much the first thing he said was talking about duels, which I've been on and on about till I'm blue in the face and blue in the t-shirt, and saying that we lost so many counter-attacks. Gave away so many chances on the counter-attack because we weren't strong enough in the duel. And that was the thing. And you've got to trust Arne, don't you, that he's just got he's got a great view. He's sort of like crystal clear clarity. This is alpine flowing water. It's not the sewagey gunk you get throughout the British Isles these days. But yeah, I mean, do you take the positives from that, or are you focused on the negatives? Because we were as easy to carve open as I don't know, something that's easy to carve open. Nothing springs to mind.
Yeah, I know it's pre-season. The lads are still working on fitness. I think we might be a little bit behind AC Milan. They looked a little bit more, whether they're just up for it or not. It's a fitness exercise for us. That's what it looked like. It might be an exercise as well for Arne Slot to try and figure out who might not have a place in his squad, because I don't think Kostas Tsimikas did himself any good at all. He played a couple of nice balls, but he seemed to be played out of position. Our second half team looked a fair bit more under strength than our first half team, unfortunately. And I'm looking at the goals there a couple of minutes ago on YouTube, and you can't leave Rafael Leao one-on-one with Harvey Elliott in behind to get running, and that's what happened. It's like a free run. Like, it's like saying to Usain Bolt, tell you what you're saying, go run against that kind of club athlete, and we'll give you £1 million at the end of it if you beat him. It's. I love Harvey, great player, does really well, but he just hasn't got the pace to cover that kind of ground. Leao is
unfortunately
not a player I'd like to sign, but he's good.
I mean, he's very effective. I do really like him. I think he's strong and quick and skillful, scores goals, makes goals, causes headaches wherever he goes. I really like Rafael. But, you're right. I can't disagree with anything there. Gary Richards is in the chat already. He says, tally ho, Owen, Shane and Nigel, dear boys. Well, pip, Gary, so glad you're with us. Do get your comments in. Gary's first comment is Rio must start at Wembley, and that's a very interesting place to start. This start talking about the positives, Shane, because Rio. I mean, I was just looking just before we started this stream or recorded this podcast. Fikayo Tomori, who was marking Rio in that first half, how many games he's played in his career. And it's 292 games, almost 300 games across 10 different leagues with 5 different clubs. He's played for Milan, he's played for Chelsea, he's played for Hull City. He's tremendously experienced, even at the age of 26. And Rio gave him a heck of a time. I would say that Rio won that battle in the first half, even though Rio didn't score, he didn't assist. Tomori was like, I don't know, he got in a couple of good challenges, but you could tell he felt sort of dizzy by the end of it, like a kind of cartoon character with those swirling stars around their head. Shane, what did you make of Rio? Should he start at Wembley?
I think so. I think Rio definitely had something to prove today, especially with Luis Diaz being left out of the squad. I mean, obviously, Slot has already said in his post-match press conference that's due to doubts over his future. And so, yeah, Rio felt like this was his opportunity to try to say, hey, I'm an option for you, Slot. And I think he definitely showed that. He was so electric, so dynamic. And yeah, I thought he was a threat the whole way through.
He certainly was. And what I don't know, where's his ceiling? Is he our Yamal? Is he our Messi, Shane?
I mean, he has the potential. I mean, he's 16 years old, correct?
16.
Yeah.
He's turning 17 in September, I believe.
Oh my goodness, that's incredible. I wish I could say the same. But that's he's quite good. I mean, it's very impressive that he's out there with full-grown men going up against them head to head in these duels and everything else, and the way that he's able to retain the ball and just his pace is very, very impressive. Didn't we get him from Chelsea? Didn't we sign him out from under Chelsea? Incredible.
We stole him, yes. I'm sorry, just mini correction. 29th of August, 2008. 3 years, more than 3 years after Istanbul. So if that's not going to make you feel old, then have a look at Steven Gerrard's post that he put on social media, because he's on granddad duties. Steven Gerrard's a granddad. Congratulations. Goodness gracious me, this world keeps on spinning.
Time does keep marching on, but Rio, yeah, I think there's a player there. I think he could suit us well. And after what I saw today, I don't know how about you two are feeling, but if Diaz wants to leave, then I mean, we just have to wish him the best at this point.
Well, this is an interesting thing. So I mean, Lucho does it like he's leaving. He's out of the team, and you know, Arne said that, you know, it's referred almost directly to the fact that he's been linked to Bayern, and it looks like it's happening. So on the left-hand side, at the left of attack, we've got Gakpo, we've got Rio, we've got Wirtz can play out there. And I don't know, like if we get, obviously we've got Ekitike through the door. Isaac Dream is still alive. We can still talk about that much later in the show, but do we need another left-sided attacker, or is Rio good enough to play that backup sort of fifth, sixth choice attacker role? I think he is.
Well, there's no harm in having him in the squad, I mean, but that's for sure. You know, get him around the squad, give him the pre-season games, see does he kind of step up. Apparently, he's bulked up a fair bit from pre-season, from what I've been listening to in interviews and stuff. They said that people have said he's put on, he's actually grown like in height and in body mass as well, so he's going to be stronger, and he's got that speed then as well. Like it's like I remember watching a young John Barnes coming in and playing for Watford back in the early 80s, and he looked like he was always a kind of a biggish guy, shoulders wise and stuff like that. But after his first season, he came back and he was absolutely huge, like really like stocky. John Barnes wasn't the biggest, tallest guy in the world, but he was so broad and had such a fantastic touch, and it's a bit like that. Absolutely keep him around the squad, and if he's playing and the players, I was listening to some of the analysis today at half time, and they said if the players are happy enough having him in the squad, and it's not only that, they're happy to give him the ball. You could see the players looking up and giving him the ball out on the wing, and happy enough to let him have it and have a run and try and support him then after that. So yeah, I don't see why not. Why he wouldn't be at least in squads.
I think we should keep him happy. He seems really happy to be there, really happy to play for the club. Lovely. He's loving his football. He's enjoying everything. You know, he really enjoyed. You could tell he relished that battle today. So I think, yeah, keep him around. Keep him around. Some comments coming in. Alan the Cat is in the house. Hello, Alan. Great to have you with us. Alan the Cat says, save the money on Fofana and give Rio the minutes for sure. Okay. And he also mentioned something about the mic levels. I'll do my best to change it from here, Alan. Thank you very much. But yeah, so Alan is in agreement. Save the Fofana money. I want to save the Fofana money and put it into a midfielder because I've been saying it for years. I'm gonna keep banging that drum. Shane, we need a ball buster. We need a belabour. We need someone who can break up the attacks, win the duels. We need that because we were talking earlier in our group chat on WhatsApp about how good is this window? Potentially the best window ever. I've decided that I'm not going to be 100% happy, even if we bring in Isak and Gehi. I'm going to be 99% happy, but I'm going to be 100% happy if we get a midfielder who can, because McAllister's injured, Endo is picked up some kind of niggle, and that leaves us with Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, Szoboszlai, and a suspended Gravenberch to play in midfield. Shane, is not enough. We need more. Surely. Trainioli, I forgot about him.
Yeah, but all of those players, none of them are quite in the same like Fabinho mold as what I believe that you would like to see in our shopping cart. But yeah, you're right. We need someone who can break up play and then immediately turn and get the ball forward. Dom does do that sometimes, and I specifically remember the Manchester City match where he was absolutely collapsed on the floor. I felt like he did a lot of that, but he's better served going forward. He shouldn't be holding back. McAllister can be that. I can see McAllister doing that. But we do need someone, I think, with a bit more size. McAllister, the way he does it, he's very feisty, and he also utilizes the dark arts, which I'm all for, and I do love him for it. But he also is better served going forward, and so yeah, we do. It does seem like we might need someone. I don't know. Would you, if you only had to take two out of those three, Isak, Guehi, and then this to be named midfielder?
Carlos Baleba. Carlos Baleba. I would leave Isak in this kind of limbo, and I would take Baleba and Gehi. What about you, Nigel?
Yeah, it's a tough question. It's a tough question. It's a really tough question because we could definitely do with another centre half, and we could do with that guy stepping in. But I think we were watching the game today, and I'm not sure whether he can do it or not. But Dominic Szoboszlai dropped in today and was playing like a Xabi Alonso, Jan Molby type when he was pinging balls all over the place. And I just think when we're properly fit and up to match fitness and have our game face on, so to speak, it might be a different story. And if we can get Isak, it's another weapon. I mean, first of all, it strengthens us. It drives fear into the hearts of the rest of the Premier League if we get Isak. And it significantly weakens Newcastle United. And that's a huge thing. So you know, there's Newcastle fans are going around with pictures of the Carabao Cup saying of him with the Carabao Cup. Now, I like Newcastle fans, great club, great fans, but you don't start doing that to the team who has won it more than anybody else. You know, we didn't play well in the final, he did, your fans were brilliant, but like showing pictures of him with the Carabao Cup to us when we're in it, we're starting to get ourselves into a position where we could sign your star player. Not really good. But yeah, no, I'd love us to sign Isak. I really would.
I mean, absolutely. Me too. Sorry, I'm just pressing the wrong buttons here again, as I often do. But I want to bring up a photo. Isak or Baleba. I mean, blimey, we do need the goals. And the players, you mentioned Dominic Szoboszlai. I do want to talk about him and his performance, and also Florian Wirtz. It was the first time we got to see him, and we talked about getting carried away with pre-season, Shane. But Florian Wirtz is probably the best footballer I've ever seen. What did you think? Well, maybe not. I don't know. He's up there. What do you think, Shane, from that performance? How excited are you from a scale of 1 to 392?
Ooh, then I would probably, for the future, I would definitely say I'm probably at 380. I mean, I'm very excited. We're not seeing the full extent of it, but yeah, I think he's absolutely entertaining. I think he does things in ways that seem effortless, that almost like as if he's gliding, and that just does not even seem possible. And so, yeah, whenever we signed him, I just thought it was going to be the signing of the summer. I know everyone else is saying Isak and all that, but I do think Florian might be the best addition, the last tool in part of like a Swiss Army knife or a Dutch Army knife for slot that we've been missing.
Absolutely. And someone mentioned in the chat, Gary Richards again coming up with the great comments in the chat. Another alternative to Isak or someone who can get on the end of, who can really link up with Florian as well as Szoboszlai did and Mo Salah did today, is Bradley Barcola. Gary says the rumor is that Richard Hughes really loves Bradley Barcola. I don't know, like, so do I. And I've actually messaged people in Liverpool, like on LinkedIn and all the weird things where people's DMs are automatically open, to say that I heard a rumor that there is a tiny possibility that he could maybe be persuaded to leave Paris Saint-Germain. I've got that on good faith. Scouts and Proud is in the chat. Nice to have you with us. You say he or she says, is this the Liverpool fan club? It's not the Liverpool fan club, but it's certainly a Liverpool fan club, and you're more than welcome, Scouts and Proud, to join us. And let us know your thoughts on today's match and all that stuff. I do want to talk about how Wirtz and Szoboszlai linked up, because they were able to, find space, find each other. We only saw it for 45 minutes, but that was a real positive, that midfield link up. Andy Robertson mentioned it post-match as well, the midfield link up being a high point, Nigel. And these two great footballers, they're young, they're hungry, they're full of energy. And it looks like it could be something that is really fruitful for us this season.
Yeah, one gives us an option of being able to slide the ball through to the other, so to speak. It's almost like to Wirtz, and maybe switching around as well. And then there's the option of the long pass as well. But it's just what we want is the players who are confident on the ball, and these two are just different level. Just get on the ball and use it really well. Great vision, both of them. And we all know about Szoboszlai's engine, and faced down on the pitch against Manchester City last season, after scoring a great goal, assisting for Mo for the first goal, and he was just outrageously good that day. I hope he really comes through for us, because I think he's just so much potential that he hasn't shown so far. A lot of people are saying, he could do more. Well, I think he could be about to. He could be about to be unleashed, I think, in a slightly deeper role. The Jan Molby, Xabi Alonso passing could come into play. And if that does work, like long ball down the wing to, we'd say, for instance, today's down to Rio or down to Mo on the wings, and then a little layoff inside to our other friend here, Florian Wirtz. And just, it could be anything. It could be absolutely anything.
It really could. It's going to be so exciting. A couple of Dominic Szoboszlai stats from today. He was one of few players that actually played 90 minutes. He had 2 shots, including his goal. The other one was also on target. And 41 out of 44 accurate passes, which is 93%. So very, very solid performance from Dom. Also on your screen at the top, perhaps the most important thing, no perhaps about it, the most important thing from today, in my view, was the great tribute in Hong Kong for Diogo Jota, and also the number 20 patch. Obviously, it's something that, we're still getting used to all of this. We're still a club in mourning, and we will be for a long time, I imagine, as we collectively process losing Diogo in such a shocking and tragic way. But I've just really loved, Shane, the way that the club has chosen to honour him in all the little different things. Apparently this 20 patch, obviously the kit is going to change on the 1st of August in just a few days from now to Adidas, but they will keep the 20 tribute on the new kit, Shane. And I just think with the news as well that there's a new memorial based on all of the messages of love and support for Diogo's family and loved ones that were left with, and the flowers will be composted and everything will. I just think the club's been brilliant, Shane. In this such a difficult time, a difficult moment, and I thought it was quite beautiful. What did you think, Shane?
I have to agree with you. I think the club is doing everything that imaginable to really honor Diogo and his family and his brother. And yeah, you're right. There's a lot of grief. There's a lot of mourning. The wound is still fresh. It has not healed over and will not for some time. And the way that the club has gone about honoring him, I was surprised by the patch. I'm very happy for it. I'm really happy that it's going to be around. But even just the fact that they're going to honor his contract, that they're going to establish a fund for his kids' education and everything else. It just it makes you very proud to be a part of this club.
It really does. It really does. Great answer. And Nigel, we had some other sad news, and then we'll go back to talking about better news. But other sad news was Joey Jones's passing as well. I mean, he was before any of our times. His heyday was the 76-77 season where we won I believe we won a treble, certainly the European Cup and the league. But I think maybe the League Cup as well, or we lost the FA Cup final or something like that. And Joey Jones, I mean, you shared something in our group chat earlier, some stories about the guy. Do you remember? Can you share what he said? I've got an article here I can read if you want, but I don't know.
I can give it a go.
Go on.
Just to say that it was 76-77. We won 2 trophies out of 3. We won the league and we won the European Cup and got beaten the FA Cup final by Man United by a fluke. Joey Jones, there was a story about him when we beat Barcelona in 1976 in the UEFA Cup in the Nou Camp. I think we were the first team to beat them in the Nou Camp. And at the final whistle, the Barcelona fans started throwing cushions down from the stands, and Joey started picking up the cushions and throwing them back and hitting the Barcelona fans in the head. And he said they were going under his leg and behind his back, and they're flicking him around. And Bob Paisley was the manager, and Bob was going, "Joey, what are you doing? You're going to start a riot." They started it, he said. So and Phil Neal, if you can get that story online, Phil Neal does the best Bob Paisley impression ever. He's so good at it.
Fantastic.
Joey's main legacy, that banner that turned up on the hill in the 1977 FA Cup final. Joey ate the frog's legs, made the Swiss roll, and now he's munching Gladbach. The greatest banner of all time. It will never be beaten. And there's a little documentary as well. The 2 guys that made it have sadly both passed now. One of them passed from cancer just a few years ago, and the other one passed a few years ago, fairly young. But it's on YouTube somewhere. That it's on a short. I think I saw it the other day. That who was it? I think was it Dave Kirby? I think was on. That's it. That's the banner. But they said that they started off with one about Saint Etienne that we beat in the quarterfinals, and then when we beat Zurich from Switzerland, they came up with a second one, and then they said win the third one when we reach the final. One of the guys' mothers said, why not combine the 3? And that's what they do. That's what they ended up with, the greatest banner of all time. So Joey was a legendary character at Liverpool, at Chelsea, at Wrexham, and with Wales. So I was alive at the time, but I didn't. I wasn't. I was only 5 in 1977, so I was before my time, really. But I remember watching him playing for Wrexham when he went back there. The time they beat Arsenal in the FA Cup in the early 90s, Mickey Thomas scored a brilliant goal. And he was just an infectious character going around, fist waving in the air, and he was an amazing guy. So rest in peace, Joey. You never walk alone.
Absolutely, yeah, it's really well said. Thank you, Nigel. And I'm just going to share a tiny bit of the article on lfchistory.net, which is just a brilliant interview with Joey Jones. If I'll put it on the screen as well, if anyone can see it. But the question is, why were you so popular with Liverpool fans? The question to Joey Jones. And Joey said, well, it's not going to be because of my football skills, is it? I used to stand on the boys' pen and ended up standing on the cup. I appreciated playing for Liverpool Football Club because it was a boyhood dream of mine, playing for the team I supported. All I could do was go and give 150%, not 100%, 150%. I think the fans could identify with myself in terms of, if Joey can do it, maybe we can do it as well. Maybe John Aldridge was that type as well. He used to watch Liverpool and ended up playing for them. Maybe the boys could see what the club meant to me. I think that was really, that's really good. That's really great. That's really something that, you know, I don't know, it is encapsulated, as you said, Nigel. He used to shake his fists at the Kop when he arrived at Liverpool games and get the Kop going, and they absolutely adored him. So yeah, rest in peace, Joey Jones, club legend. Going back to today's game, some stats are not going to tell us too much because we had such a changed lineup, but they did cut through us in a way that was reminiscent of the worst season we had under Jurgen Klopp, when things went awry. Shane, we had 7 shots on target with 2 big chances, and AC Milan had 8 shots on target with 4 big chances. They could have had even more big chances if they'd been a bit smarter with their breaks, because it just seemed like the break was on all the time. And going into the season, okay, we're going to actually play a back 4, presumably, of Frimpong or Bradley and Konate, Virgil and Kirkes or Robertson. But pace-wise, I would like to see, to stop that counter-attack, I would like to see us, as Nigel's mother, I think, appears. Hello, Nigel. Nigel's mother. Hello. How are you? Yeah, I would like to see us. Where was that? Well, I was completely flummoxed by that. What was I?
I know, that was too funny.
That was pretty funny. But no, the counter attack. That's what I was worried about. Yeah. Am I reading too much into it, or am I? Because I'm already a little bit tense that there's going to be loads of space unless we play Frimpong and Kirkes as opposed to Robertson and Bradley at the back, Shane, because Leao completely skinned Bradley at one point. I don't know. What do you think, Shane? Is that something to worry about? Am I being too paranoid based on just one meaningless friendly?
No, I think that is somewhat induced by having Trent Alexander-Arnold in that position for some time now, is that we looked just as vulnerable as anything else. And you would think that after he's moved on and everything else, that would be shored up in a way, but clearly it was still a path for them a channel for them to go in and get in their counterattacks. I am worried as well. Like, we need to do something. I don't know if it's a positional change or like a formation change, but there's something needs to be done for that side, because we've now changed out the personnel, but the weakness is still ever present. And so I don't know. Frimpong looked great. I loved his first touch. I loved seeing him attack. Obviously, that was incredible. But I want something that makes me feel secure, and that's like on their left wing attack, our right back position. But yeah, at the moment it's not. I'm just as paranoid as you, if not even more.
But Bradley is that player though. I mean, today he got skinned by an exceptional talent in Leao. So, but surely Bradley gives you, helps you sleep at night.
Yeah, I like Bradley. I think he's great. I think this is a season for him to prove himself even more, because I know we all know that he's very skilled with getting the ball into the box, and then how he sets up. Like, I love all of his assists. I love his mentality and everything else, but I don't want to see him get skinned like that again, because then it's just going to keep happening over and over. Like you said, under the worst season, in the season under Klopp that was the worst, it was almost predictable. That's how we were going to concede the first goal every single match, and it was an uphill climb from then on in.
I mean, very good answer. Very good answer. I mean, we'll see. I don't think many teams have a player of the quality of Leao, but we will see. We will see. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what else to say about the match, really. I mean, we talked about Wirtz and Szoboszlai and Rio. Luis Diaz might be going. The crowd noise was something that I picked up on. I enjoyed it, Nigel. Obviously, loads and loads of vast majority were Liverpool fans who were there. But I liked it, sort of a different timbre of crowd noise. Like when Rio did a jink, it was all like, oh, it was nice. I liked it. It was a different sound to Anfield. You could tell that everybody there was just really appreciative of seeing the heroes. But, in terms of humidity, the pitch, the reason why, in case you're wondering, because I do have a friend who's a groundsman at PSG, the reason why the pitch they cut up and they're not good at all is because European pitches in the top leagues, like in the Premier League and PSG, for example, I think they're around about 30% plastic and 70% actual grass that gets sewn in, and it's all quite a science to it. But in Asia, they don't have that kind of thing, and you could kind of tell. Well, you could definitely tell that it wasn't the best pitch to play on. But I mean, not that I'm using that as an excuse. But I just wonder if, a couple of players fell over, turned their ankles, Nigel. The humidity is high. Is it really worth it? I mean, it's very good commercially. I love the way that all of our fans in Asia get to see Liverpool live, which is a wonderful thing. Our friend Brian was there in Hong Kong. Absolutely adored the opportunity to go and see Liverpool play. But wouldn't you rather just play Preston and Wrexham and local teams like the nobodies, like Everton, for example, Nigel? Wouldn't that prepare us better for the season?
No, it gives the players a bit of a look at our fan base abroad as well. I think it's a good thing. Apart from commercial, I think it's good as a club to win new fans as well. Like if we got one new fan there when we were in Hong Kong, it's a good thing. More Liverpool fans, the better. And I think it's going abroad is a good thing. Sometimes the pitches are not great. You'd expect a 50,000 seater stadium to have a reasonable pitch and not this. Sometimes they might just say, "Oh, we'll relay the pitch," but it wouldn't be up to the standard, like you say. These pitches that are now like 30% artificial and like sewn into the pitches with underground heating and all that. You won't need that out in Hong Kong or anything like that. But and then they're watered as well, of course, I presume. And just you don't know what you're getting. You just don't know what you're getting. That's the problem with some of these pitches.
And that's going to be the case in Japan as well. Shane, you want to come in there?
Yeah, not to throw my own country under the bus, but America doesn't have great pitches either. I don't know if the pitch in Hong Kong was better than anything that they saw in the Club World Cup, because I know plenty of people are complaining about that and the quality of it. And then also, yeah, you would expect with 50,000, 60, 70, 80,000 stadiums that the pitch would be better. But unfortunately, it seems like these stadiums that share sports with other types of sports in other countries, whenever they bring it almost seems like, for lack of a better term, because I know it is a club friendly, but they treat it like an exhibition. Like it's just going to be like what they do with concerts. Oh, we're just going to change up the field, put the stage on, let them do the thing, and then we're going to rip it all out and put back what it is. And so just not playing on the native surface definitely has its effects. But I don't know. Part of me thinks that the ones in America are worse than Hong Kong.
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll see. You've got the World Cup to prepare for as well, and lots of pitches will have to be good for that. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. I just hope that the pitches in for the Club World Cup sapped the energy out of Chelsea and all that stuff. Because let's have a talk about transfers. Scouse and Proud asked, "Are we signing a centre back then, lads?" I would for sure buy one, which is, it's very necessary, isn't it, Nigel?
I think so. I think just a quick shout out to my cousin Aaron, telling me to paint the wall behind me. He's watching the pod and he's
okay.
telling me to paint the wall behind me. No, I'm not doing that, Aaron. But so yeah, I think we do need a centre half. I think we probably would have signed Guehi at the time we were looking for him. But unfortunately, what happened with Diogo happened and it kind of got a bit derailed. I still think we'll get him. I maybe Palace don't really want to do business this close to the start of the season, but I think
he's only got 1 year left.
Yeah, but it's getting very close to the start of the season as well.
So, yeah, but do you think this is the kind of thing where if we go in with, like, for example, 40 million towards deadline day, then they really be able to say no? A club of Palace's size?
Maybe we'll have to see. Like we can speculate. You know what I mean? We're here on these pods. We can do it 24 hours a day, all we want. Like we're only like the fans basically, and we're all in the same boat. We can speculate all we want. We don't really know what's going to happen. We're hoping we'll have a good transfer window like we seem to be having at the moment, but a couple more would really top it off. A centre half, a holding midfield player, and Alexander Isak basically.
So the other clubs have been strengthening. Shane, I had a text from my friend Josh, who listens to this podcast, the audio version, and he's a big Chelsea fan. Lives in Dallas, right near your neck of the woods, isn't it, Shane? But anyway, Josh texted me a few times today. We had a nice chat on the old WhatsApp, and he was saying he reckons Chelsea are back as serious title contenders because they fixed the main problem, which is up front, getting rid of Jackson and getting Pedro, Joao Pedro and Delap. They're signing another number 10, Xavi Simons, and I don't know. They said that they seem to be signing Hato and other people, making some good moves, but I don't know. Do you think Chelsea are going to be contenders as we move into the season?
I think potentially, right off the bat, though, your friend Josh in Dallas, I'm a Houston native. I live in Los Angeles now, but so just hearing the fact, not even the Chelsea part, just hearing that he's from Dallas, him and I are sworn enemies.
I see. Okay, Houston and Dallas.
It might as well be the Liverpool-Manchester connection.
Oh man,
the best way to describe it. So you can. There's a whole argument about barbecue sauce. It gets really in the weeds with that. But moving forward,
no. I'm going to stop you there because you're talking to a native of the island of Jersey, and I was confused once as being from the island of Guernsey, which is next door. And good God, I've never been so offended. I spit every time. I spit on the floor in disgust whenever I remember that. So this is the funny thing about human nature, isn't it? It's always the neighbours. Houston and Dallas, they're not far away. You're all the same, really, but you don't want to admit it. Liverpool fans, Man United fans, all the same? Well, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But there are similarities. We're all part of the same family. We're all cousins. We're all brothers, sisters.
Yeah, and this is all fun. It's all about being like rivals in competition. It's not about being sworn enemies.
Exactly.
And I really, honestly, as a side note, that whole culture about actually hating a person based on them supporting another team, I'm fully against, and I think is quite immature. It's just kind of fun. Like when someone goes to a rival school, that happens a lot here in America. People rib each other. They tease each other. It's all meant to be in good humored and good natured. And I hope when Josh listens to this, he'll know that he can go after me for being a Houstonian. But going back to your original question about Chelsea, yeah, I did not expect them to win that final, and they definitely look like they have strengthened. And we were expecting PSG to do a quadruple. We were not anticipating that whatsoever. And so, you of all people, you live in south of Paris, if I'm not mistaken. So, did you expect Chelsea to perform as well as they did?
Well, I thought, no, off the bat, but I thought when I saw the team line up and I saw Beraldo instead of, oh God, why is my mind gone blank? Who's the usual centre back? Who's amazing? I forget his name. Why I don't know why my mind's gone blank. But anyway, PSG. I've been sort of teaching English then on and off for several years, for like 8 years now. I don't know, and I was speaking to them, and I know bits about how confident they were, but also how knackered they were. So there was that, and tactically, they were missing their main centre back, and Nuno Mendes is a great attacking left back, but they just left all this space for Cole Palmer to attack, and all 3 Chelsea goals came from that space. And I just think anyone playing Chelsea, you stop Cole Palmer and you stop their attack more or less, but if you give them tons of room, it's like giving Florian Wirtz tons of room. Except Wirtz is better, of course. And so I think your team is bound to suffer. But kudos to Chelsea. Well done. I think Caicedo's getting better and better. Enzo is getting better and better. And yeah, they're a good team. They've bought it. And, it's always going to be empty, Josh, if you're listening to this. But it's nonetheless, they have a great team. There you go. Man City, they've bought Aït-Nouri, they've bought Cherki, they've bought Reinders. 3 signings that will strengthen them, Nigel. Rodri is back from injury. There's something to worry about again with Man City, isn't there, Nigel?
I don't know. I think we're better man for man than they are. I think Reinders will struggle. I didn't like him playing for Holland. I thought he was a weak link. I didn't like him playing for AC Milan. I thought he was a weak link. Aït-Nouri's a good player. Cherki's a good player. I think their goalkeeper is weak. They missed De Bruyne. Still with too many old players. I think we're still better than them.
Because they've just re-signed James Trafford, but Edison is staying. He's got 1 more year left on the contract, and probably Ortega's going out. So they'll have James Trafford and Edison as goalkeeper. I don't know which one's even going to start between those two, but Reinders, I'm surprised you don't like Reinders. He's very, very good at carrying the ball. His pass completions at 88.2%, which is good. I've just got his stats in front of me. He takes a lot of shots from midfielders. His touches, good, successful take-ons. He's sort of good at everything. Good at intercepting, terrible at tackling and blocking, and all of his defensive stats are sort of Mbappe-esque defensive stats, sort of in the first percentile, really bad. But I think he's a good technician, but do they need a technician, or do they need someone to help Rodri out? I don't know. Have you been having any sleepless nights, Shane, about Manchester City coming back and Pep with his weirdness?
No, I would be, to go back to the other question, I'm more worried about Chelsea than I am Man City this coming season. I might be eating those words in a few months from now, so I will fully admit my fault at that point in time. But that we were just been talking about their goalkeeping position. I think that's their weakest position on the pitch. In their whole squad. Whenever I hear those names, I'm like, okay, they're shaky. They're shaky in the goalkeeping position. I think they're still going to be rebuilding. I think they'll be fighting for top 4, but I don't know if we're going to see the same heights to Man City that we have seen in the past. I would rate Chelsea as higher.
Okay. I would suggest they also need a right back, because Matheus Nunes, as I've mentioned several times on Kop On, he's completely rubbish. Excuse me, to lambast a professional footballer. He's better than I am, but for a professional footballer, he's I don't know, he's about as useful as God, I can't think of any analogies today. Never mind, we'll move on. Adnan Khan is in the chat. Hello, Adnan. Great to have you with us. Adnan says, attack wins games, but defense can win you titles, and our defense is not so great. That's a very interesting comment, Adnan. I did read somewhere recently that has actually been disproven by statisticians. I don't know if it was Michael Reed from Opta, but somebody actually looked, is that true? Because that is the old saying that defense wins you titles and attack wins you games. And apparently, no, you can attack. If you score like 100 goals in this season or something, then you're guaranteed to win the league or something like that. I can't remember the exact stats, but I would look into that and see if that is actually true, because it does seem that we're going to play like a 2-2-6 formation. We're going to have, Virgil and Konate at the back, Gravenberch and McAllister just in front. And then we're going to have in attack Szoboszlai, Wirtz, and the front 4. And it's going to be beautiful. We'll see. Adnan says, we've sold our players as well. Kwanzaa and Gomez is injured. No other CB. Konate is injury prone. Yeah, we definitely need a centre back, at least one. But Gravenberch did well today, Nigel, at centre back. Arne Slot mentioned that he's an option, even though Arne also said that he prefers Gravenberch definitely as a 6. But Gravenberch did well today, and I think he's got the talent in the sort of Emlyn Hughes type way of a great ball playing centre back. What do you reckon?
He definitely has, but we're taking out a massive talent out of our midfield. If you're playing Grav at centre back, I think he's absolutely brilliant, but he can play anywhere. You can put that guy absolutely anywhere. I remember watching him at 16 years old with Ajax, and I think that this guy's a really good player. And he went to Bayern, and it didn't work from there. And we got him. I was delighted when we got him. I was so happy when we got him. This guy. If this guy clicks, we've got a real talent on our hands, and we do. He's an absolutely immense player. And there's no doubt he can play centre back. But the fact that he was playing centre back is the reason that we've lost him for the first game of the season, because he got sent off. And he is such. We went into last season with no number 6, and we were all, Zubimendi, we didn't sign Zubimendi. What are we going to do? Well, we had the best number 6 in the Premier League last season. We're number 38 on his back, without a shadow of a doubt. There is no doubt. So he can play there, but I want him in midfield.
Yeah, 100%. And that brings us back to the same thing. We need a midfielder, folks. We need a midfielder. Adnan asks, what do you think about Isak? Let's talk about it. So, I don't know if, like me, Shane and Nigel and everybody in the chat, in the live chat, I've been consuming, like, if it was food, I would be in hospital now in terms of the amount of content that's, content that I've consumed about Alexander Isak. Something very interesting that I thought on the surface was very interesting was sent by you, Nigel, the other day. And it was Dave Hendrick from Anfield Index talking about the possibility that through somebody called Mr. Big Hat on Twitter, it's something equally tenuous anyway, some bloke on Twitter who claims to be an Arsenal fan and a lawyer mentioned some kind of FIFA regulation. This is how tenuous it gets. And this Article 17 of the FIFA regulations would allow Alexander Isak to break his own contract and force a move that way. I looked into it because I am a nerd, and how can I possibly start? I've got a very, very, very long explanation as to why it's not going to happen. So I'm not going to go into it because it's too long, the explanation. But I've looked at Article 17. I've looked at historical, like it's quite a new idea, this article. There's something called the Diarra rule that I was looking at. But basically, Alexander Isak, if he did that, he would be banned for 4 months without question, because he's played in more than 10% of Newcastle's games in the last 6 months of time. So that's not going to happen. Rule it out, basically, although it's a very interesting idea. And thanks to Dave Hendrick for sharing it, and Anfield and Next, and thanks for sharing the video. But it's not going to happen. So we're in a position, Shane, where Newcastle have the choice to stand firm, stand on the part of the lower part of Alexander Isak's tracksuit bottoms, where it hits his heels, so that he can't run anywhere. They're going to force him down. They can rugby tackle him, pin him to the floor in a wrestling move, and basically stop him escaping. And that's one possibility. Isak can continue to fight and throw his toys out the pram and scream, but he can't escape because that wrestling grip is going to be too hard, because he's got a contract. He's got a contract for the next 3 years. By doing that, Newcastle will lose their striker because he will refuse to play for them unless he understands that it's a World Cup year and he spends a month or so being in a sulk and then makes things up with Eddie and everyone at the club and then starts playing again around September, October, whatever. That's one scenario. Is that how you see it? possibly panning out? Shane, do you have any other scenarios for me? Are Liverpool just going to get their man in the end?
Yes, much like you, I have been consuming a ton of content about the speculation of what's going to happen with this deal. Mark Goldbridge seems to think that it's going to happen. He thinks that the deal is going to be done. He thinks Liverpool are going to pay and that they're going to go on their way. It is interesting, the Article 17 that you do bring up. So in my mind, 3 years under contract at Newcastle versus being banned while at Liverpool for 4 months. I would take the training and being on the bench and being banned for 4 months at Liverpool versus having to stick out 3 years. Because you're right, he's just going to refuse to play. Then he won't be at practice. He'll be left out of the squad, and it'll be this whole ongoing saga. I don't know if the World Cup can really, the glory of the World Cup, I don't know if can change that. But yeah, I kind of think that they're going to get the deal done. I kind of do. And even if it means that, because players do have power, and they can't be completely subjected. So yeah, if he does invoke this article and is subsequently banned, I could easily see him coming in towards the second half of the season and really tearing it up. So I don't, if he really is this adamant about leaving Newcastle, I think it's going to happen.
Gary Richards says, one has been consuming Pringles while he's watching this. So thank you, Gary. Do let us know, anybody, what you're consuming.
What flavor of Pringles? I want to know.
Flavor, Gary? Yes, very important question. Very important question. Another important question is to you, Nigel. Where do you see this going? This conflict between player and club. Who really is going to win out here?
Yeah, what I can remember from that piece that Dave Hendrick did, when the player has gone past his 3-year in the club, which ends for Isak, I think, in mid-August, he can then say that he wants to move without any prospect of a ban because he's been at the club 3 years. He'll be entering his 4th season of his contract.
I don't think so. That was not because Dave Hendrick was, as far as I could tell, he was quoting Mr. Big Hat or whoever it was on Twitter, yeah. and they asked Grok, and it was the AI on Twitter that gave him that explanation. But I don't trust AI as far as I can, shoot a water pistol at it. Yeah. So, I did my own research with my own 2 eyes and my half-functioning brain. And I did find out that does seem to be not true. That if you, because basically they call it sort of like an without due cause kind of, it's all legal language, a breach of contract where it's just the player decides, okay, see you later, I'm walking away. Even though they do have a contract, there will be comeuppance for that in terms of compensation for Newcastle, which that takes into account all kinds of things, like not just the player's contract, but also the money they would lose on shirt sales, I think, from what I could, and all of the marketing stuff. The compensation package would be absolutely huge, which Isak himself and Liverpool would have to pay. And it's just basically, it's really trying to stop players doing that. This Article 17 is really states quite clearly to me, but I'm no legal expert, that you cannot breach a contract without serious consequences, financial and not being able to play for 4 months. But I don't know. So, but it's just a question of will Newcastle see sense, Nigel? Do you think they will? Because they don't want to keep an unhappy player around. It's bad for morale. It's going to dent their season. They've got PSR to think about. It doesn't make sense to keep him around when you can sell him for a good price, 120, 130 million, and reinvest that money on Šeško and whoever else.
I think they'll sell him if they get the offer they want. It's as simple as that. I think if they get, I'm not sure where we're positioning ourselves now at the moment with this, but this is basically what we've had done to us for a few seasons. It happened with Coutinho. It happened with Trent Alexander-Arnold. It happened with Luis Suarez. I'm trying to think. It happened with Michael Owen.
Steve
It's
McManaman.
happening with Lucho.
McManaman, yes.
Lucho as well, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So it happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because we're high profile, and it's a high profile player wanting to come to us. Apparently, it's just kind of and it's two English teams as well. In the same league. The other times it was Spanish teams dealing with us or dealing with other teams. I'm sure it happens all the time with other teams. It's just we wouldn't be paying that much attention to it because it's not Liverpool. But it's happened enough to us to know that I can imagine the Newcastle fans not being very happy about it, because I know I wouldn't be.
No, of course, he's their hero, he's their idol. They would feel as we did when Luis Suarez left. Probably, I mean, Suarez idol. I don't know. There's always question marks about him, but in terms of the player, he was a massive loss. When Xabi Alonso went to Real Madrid, I was gutted. Dylan and Bire's in the chat. Hello, Dylan. Great to have you with us. I'm not sure if I pronounced your surname correctly. Do correct me if I'm wrong. Dylan says, I need Isak to Liverpool. I like that, Dylan. You need it. Excellent. Like you need water in your body. Dylan also says we should sell Nunez and Tsimikas. Whereas Adnan says Isak is too costly. Nearly 300 million if you add his salary. He's a world-class player, but it can disrupt the stability of our club. I'm not sure at that. I'm not sure. You make a good point. You might be right. But I think the rumours are that he would take, let's say, for example, 250 a week, sort of Virgil Mo money, and the other players will be well aware that, they're not going to get that salary, even if they ask for it. And you do get who is, for me, the third best striker in the world after Haaland and Mbappe, Isak, and he's turning 26. He could still improve even, and with Wirtz playing behind him, I mean, can you imagine? We've only seen Wirtz for 45 minutes, but with Wirtz and Salah setting up Isak, crikey, blimey, oh crikey, that is quite the prospect. Gary Richard says Fofana could come in as the third left winger. Yes, but as we mentioned before, let's just keep Rio. Develop this kid, 16 years old. He's ready. Of course he's ready. I don't know. We'll see. But I prefer to keep Rio personally. Well, I don't know. I don't know what else we there's nothing really else to say on the agenda, I don't think. I'll just check it. No, we've been through pretty much everything. I don't know. Do you have any things to say, Shane? Yeah, what would you like to say?
Have we figured out that Pringles flavor yet? Have we gotten to the bottom of that?
Let us know what the
cream and onion in the chat.
Sour cream and onion. There you go.
Okay, I was about to say that's the best flavor, because if it's not sour cream and onion, I don't care. But because it's sour cream and onion, I'm very happy. So he's a good person. I like this.
I've had these.
Ooh.
What's that?
Okay.
You have to explain to the audio listeners and
Hunky
people with
Dory's.
bad eyesight.
Hunky
Dory, cheddar cheese and spring onion crisps.
Yes.
Is that a staple in Ireland? I've never seen those.
Well, they're Tato. They're made by Tato, and they are.
I'm gonna have to get some.
He's going to eat one live on air. He's going to show us.
Right to the microphone.
Crinkle cut Irish potato crisps. They look absolutely amazing.
Beautiful, really nice.
My stomach just rumbled when you just ate
really
that.
nice, really nice.
But hang on, this conversation is going around, beautifully around in a lovely sort of knitted blanket circle. Because Shane, you mentioned the Dallas Houston salad dressing wars or something, because there is a Pringles flavor called ranch dressing, which you can find in France, and it's ranch dressing Pringles, and it was very good with the salsa that I had last week at a picnic. But what are these wars between Dallas and Houston in terms of?
It's all centered around barbecue and the barbecue culture. So specifically how brisket is smoked as well, but primarily also barbecue sauce. It's a good way to take a dig, because barbecue sauce recipes often are family heirlooms, are handed down from generation to generation. And, a lot of times it'll be like, grandmothers or great grandmothers' barbecue recipes on the sheet of paper that she wrote that the family has had for generations and generations. And so whenever you take a dig at somebody's family's barbecue sauce, you're hitting home.
Oh man. Oh wow. Good Lord. I have to go and have a Texas barbecue at some point. as I've mentioned before, there were various shows on YouTube like Rate My Takeaway, and these people who go away and they go to different countries and they try the food. And this is what my girlfriend sometimes catches me late at night watching these food videos on YouTube. It's absolutely it's an addiction. I need help. But there was one guy, a British guy, who went to Texas and he tried a brisket. I'm not sure if it was in Dallas or Houston, so I'm not going to divide the room here, but probably Houston. And he was on holiday and he tried this thing and he called his mum on the phone after just trying one mouthful of this brisket. And he said, "Mum, I'm not coming home. I'm staying in Texas."
Yes, I bet you it was in Austin. Austin, despite the fact that I'm a native Houstonian, Austin actually does have the best barbecue in the entire state. And so they smoke it for over 12 hours, sometimes over a day. And it's just so many hours spent with that smoked meat. It's just so soft. The texture is just so juicy and it's not dry, it's not coarse, and it just kind of melts in your mouth.
And also one of the greatest guitar players of all time is from Austin.
Yeah, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
I knew you were going to mention him.
Excellent. Yeah, what a guitarist! Good Lord, fingers of fury, absolutely fantastic. But anyway, thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you to Shane and to Nigel. It's been an absolute pleasure coming at you, Kop On. If you want to get in touch, koponpodcast@gmail.com. We have got a Patreon. If anyone wants to donate, they can. Just look up Kop On Podcast. Otherwise, looking for subscribers. We'll go up, trying to get on the road to 500 subscribers with all these YouTube videos we're doing. And it'd be great if anyone could support that. That'd be absolutely superb. Get in touch if you want to be on the show, if you want to be a guest. Again, koponpodcast@gmail.com. But my name's Owen. It's been an absolute pleasure. No, that always sounds like that airline. It's been an absolute pleasure. There's some kind of like robot announcement with an airline. They would actually mean it. It's been an absolute delight to talk about the mighty Reds. We lost today, but we're going to learn from it. Frimpong is going to be on fire. Kirkes, Gakpo. Just think of all the players we've got. They're all beautiful in their own way. They're all going to gel, and we're going to bring home number 21. You'll never walk alone. We'll see you soon. Thank you very much.